So we've reached 1,000 subscribers. That's wicked. I want to thank everybody for helping me out, watching my stuff, supporting me, commenting, flipping me off. Anything is good. So keep it coming. Thanks for watching. All right. Work, 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 work. Just some more town work today. So leftovers from the guy I do all the frag stuff for. We got a bunch of tanks at the cleaning place. So scratch my head. It's gonna, I'm like, oh, tanks, boring, but I'll do a how-to double suck 400 barrel tanks. Load and unload, of course. I got 10 tanks I gotta move today. I think I'm doing it solo, so I'll make something cool out of it. Be right back. Well, look at this. It's all done. Run it through its paces today. Retorque the front tires. Break in this new clutch. Park me right in the mud. Alright, well, we're all saddled up here. Came over to yard number 2, grabbed the trailer. I'm going to zip over to the place where they clean all the tanks. And we'll start hawking loads from there. Looks like I'm solo. I must be some sort of tank god or something. Could have used one extra truck, but whatever. We like to run these swivel D. Very convenient for doing like train stuff, which we do a lot of that. So I don't honestly, well, that's a lot nicer, sucking it up over the wheel. And we just have a pickup sling on that we put on each trailer. So when you deck down, you just undo the D from the shackle and step ahead. Makes for unloading nice and quick. That's safe. We'll just put those there for 5 minutes because I'll be using them. We're just going across town. Looks like I gotta put my own mud flap on. Here it starts. Cummins live.
Stop it! Oh. Get out of there! Oh.
I got enough for. Of course, they had the engine apart, so it was expected to happen, but didn't do it at the shop until I started driving down the road. Oh, I got one mismatched light. Oh, she only needs a little sippy. I was gonna blow up in my face. Rule number 1, always open it slowly or else it'll shoot all the coolant out. Well, not all of it, but a lot. It'd be messy. It'll probably happen again. That's what happens when you take the motor apart. Jeez Louise. Now we'll line up to the tank. Oh, the downfall of having the swivel D. Oh, they're nicely lined up too. Perfect. Now they got that hooked up. Hopefully it's got to put 2 chains in between to hold them. Usually we put them a lot closer than that, but hey, what do you do? So rule number 1, if you're going to use 2 chains, they got to be the same length. Or else it'll be all crooked.
What's that on that beat? Oh.
Alright, now I'm going to drive a head spool out, and then I'll tighten up until chain's tight. Suck myself back under.
Did you say suck?
That's a little better now. We got a different chain, found a shorter one because that other one was way too long. Like I said, when I kicked it off, the back tank went until it teetered and into the ground, which isn't the end of the world, but not best for showing where you're dropping them off. It kind of seems a little rough, but see, now this way I could just use this chain ahead and it saves on putting another chain across there, cheating the system a little bit. So I did like multiple camera positions on all 6 loads. So there will be all these different angles. I just kind of try to grab something different every trip, and then I just kind of tried to commingle it all into one load. But it wasn't working out very well. So you might see some stuff that ain't matching up, and I show a little extra in the end of some other scenarios as well. How else are you supposed to be excited about tanks? You gotta show the people in a way that it's gotta keep it new and exciting. If you want to make films, you gotta be able to take the most boringest thing in the world and turn it into something exciting that someone's gonna go, ah, that was kind of cool. And that's basically how they suck most of society into the theater nowadays. It worked there, why can't it work for me?
I love this guy, he's so cool.
You know, next time you pull out your swing outs and it makes that noise, you're gonna think of Chewbacca now. So there's multiple ways you can do this. Now I like to get both of my tanks onto the ground, and then I'll shove the front one backwards just enough so I can get my chain off. So when the next guy comes, usually to double suck them on, it's usually in the right distance, where some guys will dump the first tank, have it teetering, and then undo their chains, pull ahead, then kick off, leaving it for the next guy that's got to come and load it. He's gonna pick it up, back up. It's just an extra step. Either way, it's an extra step if you want to take a chain off in between unloading. It's an extra step if you got to pick up the front tank, shove it back, fill the skid with dirt, or pick it up on the roll and then back up. Alright, so now after you undo your boomers, it's easy for this guy. Just put it there. So it's under, over, you can go under both, but usually the first tank, when you push it back a little bit to get your chain out, it builds up a bunch of dirt and then you gotta dig that shit out. Nobody wants to do that. And make sure it doesn't get caught up and everything. Catastrophic failure. My second name. Usually at this point, if you have the chain underneath both tanks on the bottom of the round bar, it'll help lift up the ass end of the front tank and get it over the rolls. I see a lot of guys getting it right to the rear of the trailer, and it ends up getting kind of almost hung up on the roll because their chains are just the right length that it happens. So you can see here clearly I've just fucked up. The front tank is on both rolls and it rolled back as I winched down, creating too much slack in the middle chain, and when the back tank comes over the back of the roll, it's going to shock load my load chain, and it actually ended up bending a few of the links. I always recommend, if you're going to get double suck chains, even if you're going to use a 26 footer or two, I think it's 5 footers or 5.5s, I would just recommend getting the highest tensile, nice hooks, and then you're done, because you don't need them blowing up on you. So now that your first tank is touched down, you can basically use it as an anchor to pull the front tank back. Some of the trailers, like my road train trailer, was 46 or 48 feet just on the lower deck, and it only had a single roll, so the tank was always in between. The front tank would just barely be on the middle of the roll, and then in between the center roll and the back of the trailer on the roll, it was always on no roll. So you would have to use the back tank to anchor the front tank. Sometimes you'd get aggressive, but a lot of these Doppkers have double rolls, which makes beautiful for unloading. So nice and easy and simple. But winter is a whole different story, because usually you drive, I see guys driving halfway across the yard, pull until you're out in the middle of the yard. That's not where they want them unloaded. So it wasn't the smoothest. So you can take your chains off. Usually what I would do is get both tanks down and then I would push the front one back, so it's just one less time you gotta get out of the truck. But might as well show every way. Uh-oh. Ooh, almost didn't go enough. Found a shorter chain, so it worked a lot better. Oh, it was still a little rough. So this is what I do if the tanks are too far apart. The cleaners had put a bunch of tanks that I couldn't line up to, so we had to move 6, and I expressed to them how far apart they need to be, because out of all these loads, the only ones that I got the chain on was the one that I had the chain was way too fucking long. So by now I'm kind of getting a little angry that I've had to do this with every load. Close enough. So here's kind of the second alternative, which is the one I favor. It's just less screwing around. You're just down and out. You get out, you take off your middle chain, you sweep your deck, you take off your winch line, yada yada yada, and boom, you're out. You just got to be careful. A lot of older tanks don't have that much skid sticking out the front, so when you do winch down to catch it with your bumper and you push back, you catch some of their hatches stick out far, some of the teeth hatches stick out. There's all sorts of different tanks, but I'm very familiar with green tanks. I've been hauling them for 10 plus years, so I know them well. And it only seems like the really, really old tanks have some really bad designs where the hatch sticks out further than the skid for some reason. See, now by pushing it back, I only got to get out once instead of twice. And the chains are loose. Just push it back a little bit.
Uma ameaça foi detectada. Uma ameaça foi detectada.
Alright, so we're going back to work. We're gonna go to Moose Jaw, grab some train stuff. So this ass cushion is assed out. This one hardly is, so I'm gonna swap them over so I can have a better drive. Alright, got her all switched over. That's a little more appealing to the eyes. Had to put in some more coolant again. Hopefully that doesn't happen whole trip. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
When I look at people, I always ask the question, I say, man, tell me what Nike stands for. They said, oh, Inc., that's easy, just do it. I said, tell me what Adidas stands for. Oh, Inc., that's easy, man, impossible is nothing. I said, now tell me what you stand for. When people look at you, do they think excuses? When people look at you, do they think victory? When people look at you, do they think that's a person that's gonna give me everything they got, not on some days, but on every day, and it's not gonna be predicated upon if I feel like it, because I think we all know if we only worked on the days when we felt like it, none of us would get much accomplished. I'm talking about the real level of commitment. Not the commitment that falls in line if everything goes right. I'm speaking of the commitment that says, I am going to stay true to what I said I would do long after the mood that I've set it in his life.
See, most people, ladies and gentlemen, are stoppable. Most people, all you have to do is tell them no. All you have to do is make it inconvenient for them. All you have to do is make it difficult for them, and they'll stop. See, when you go to get your goal, don't think that all you have to do is think positive and everything's going to work out okie dokie for you. When you go to get your goal, you are sending a telegram to Murphy's Law to visit you personally.
You thought you was just gonna have a dream and a goal, and you was just gonna wake up and just walk into the sunset. You're like, dream, boom. It don't work like that. You have a dream, and then life punks you. Life punks you and say, do you really want this? You're gonna lose friends. Do you really want this? Do you really want this? Cousins gonna abandon you. People that you used to be like this with gonna think you bougie, don't wanna deal with you. It's a part of it, but I paid too much. If I was gonna quit, I would have quit in the abandoned building when I wanted to commit suicide and take my life. I should have quit when I heard my voice say, your mama don't want you, your daddy don't want you, take your life. I got through that, so why I'm gonna quit over F on a grade? Come on. And so I'm telling y'all, you have come too far to quit now. You have invested too much to quit now. You have lost too much to quit now. Don't cry about it. Don't whine about it. Get a reward for your pain. And so by being committed to everything that I started, I finished it. It built a certain type of spirit. It built a certain type of mentality. It built a certain type of individual. And so now I couldn't quit even if I wanted to. I couldn't stop even if I wanted to. I had too much sweat equity in my life and everything that I was doing.
You're too close to quit now. You gotta take another lap. You gotta take another lap, because you never know. This might be the one. You can't stop because you're tired. You can't stop because you got your feelings hurt. You gotta take another lap. Keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. You're gonna make it. You're gonna do it. You got an unstoppable fire. Come on, take another lap. Don't you stop. Don't stop walking.
I've been keeping myself so busy, pushing out the misery, trying to find the
jaunt. Just pulling in here now. G3 grain elevator. Just enough daylight to whip up some barbecue. Conditions aren't ideal. It's a little windy, but not too bad. We'll get up here and get situated, having burgers, and then hit the hay. We'll see you in the morning. All right, good morning all. 7 a.m. Just outside of Moose Jaw here. This lovely new grain elevator. Just getting ready to throw down and load some stuff. Alright, so we're all loaded up, ready to get out of dusty Saskatchewan and head towards Edmonton and unload. We got full force grain operation going here. We got trucks coming non-stop. So we're to hit it. It's gonna be a long drive today. Not too bad, it'll probably be like 9-10 hours, so we're gonna get going. So here's a little bit of footage of what the inside of one of these looks like. It's like the Starship Enterprise almost. We got some air conditioning, spoiled. I'm shutting the door, it's windy. So yeah, we got room for 2 personnels. Come around. Wow. Oh, look at that. Well, this is what it looks like when you're cruising down the track. Pretty high tech. Got some S-bar, we got a 2-way radio. I'm sure that's probably some cameras. This thing does a bunch of data log. Here's the instructions to operate, and that, and that, and that. Like I would know what any of that shit is, but I have to learn how to operate one, because sometimes I guess you gotta load them out yourself. So I'm gonna have to learn how to operate and what buttons do what. Can't be any worse than a delimber. Pretty cool. Oh, there's another S-bar. That's Webasto? Arctic Fox engine heater. Airtronic cab heater. Oh, ho, ho. This keep everything nice and warm. Spoiled. Spoiled. I probably shouldn't stay there. So yeah, pretty comfy, cushy job. It's pretty nice and sound deadened in here. It's quiet. This has got like 200-mile-an-hour winds outside right now that suck. Oh, look, there's my truck.
You hear this go back. Can you operate that?
Not yet.
Operator.
Tank. I need an operating program for a regulator. Let's go.
Aside from my soul,
remembered that I had to reload probably halfway back from Moose Jaw, that since you're there, you might as well reload. I'm like, well, alright, sure. And then we're gonna go going straight east to Edmonton here on 14, and we're gonna end up northeast of Medicine Hat somewhere, so I don't honestly know exactly where we're going. I think it was called Bristol, Saskatchewan. I don't know. Just flying by the seat of my pants. Just got a little guy on. Then we had to load, the other guy had to take a regulator, so no room for his booster. He had hauled a tamper to Ritchie Bros, which they do the painting and shit like that there, so I got his booster, and I got this little spiker, yada yada, but I dumped my air when I unloaded, and then I flicked the switch when I was done loading and scissored back up and hooked at the trailer, and then I went across an intersection. I was like, oh man, that was kind of rough. And then looked at the gauge and it was at 0. I was like, oh, that's weird. I toggled the switch again. I'm like, still no response, but they let out a little bit of air. So once I got onto Highway 14 off of the Henday, I crawled underneath there with my only 2 wrenches I have in the truck, which I'll have to fix that when I get back and get some wrenches and all sorts of tools. My 2 big crescent wrenches, I undid the arm to the load leveling valve just because I was like, well, maybe if I cycle it, it'll do something. And sure shit, once I got the rusty nut off with 2 massive crescent wrenches, just let the valve drop and it started to air up. And I was like, oh, perfect. Sweet. So I fixed it.
Aside from my soul, there goes a sight, there goes a sight. There goes a sight from my soul. I think I saw angels just walk by. 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 There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight from my there goes a sight.
Well, and that's that. I got unloaded. Shane was about to unload, but it turns out he's got to go to Gull Lake. So it's not too far off track, but still a kick in the pants a little bit. But anyways, he'll get on his way. I'm gonna head her home. It's 3 days on the road. I've had enough. I know it's minimal to you highway guys, but us oil field guys, it's like a 2-night max, and I'm not used to it. So put on a lot of miles the last couple days, so it's gonna be nice to go home, shut her down, edit this, see what I can make of all this.
Music.
Jaw. Come back from Moose Jaw, go to Sherwood Park, unload, and while I'm down, reload, and then go to, where was it? I think it was Bristol, Saskatchewan is halfway in between Medicine Hat and Oyen. It was an adventure, had a couple things, nothing too major. I'm all done now, I'm gonna go home.
Crunch time.
Uma ameaça foi detectada. Uma ameaça foi detectada.